Imagine being a child so terrified that your mind does something extraordinary, it splits your reality in two. One part of you experiences the horror, the other? It floats above, watching like a stranger. This isn't imagination. This is dissociation. And for some children, it's not a disorder, it's survival. Most of us think of childhood as a time of innocence, play, and discovery. But for millions of children around the world, childhood is a battlefield. And when the threat is too great, when the pain is too overwhelming, the brain does something both tragic and brilliant. It disconnects. It dissociates. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of a child who dissociates to survive. We're talking about what happens in the brain, why it happens, and how this coping mechanism designed to protect can become a prison that lasts a lifetime. By the end of this video, you'll understand one of the most misunderstood survival strategies in human psychology. And fair warning, this might change the way you see trauma forever. Let's begin. So what exactly is dissociation? At its core, dissociation is a mental escape hatch. It's when the mind separates from the body, from emotions, or from reality itself. It's like your consciousness hits the eject button. You're there, but you're not there. You see what's happening, but it feels like it's happening to someone else, or like you're watching a movie. For adults, dissociation might happen during extreme stress or trauma. But for children, it's different, because a child's brain is still developing. It's soft, moldable, and desperately trying to make sense of a world that, for some, is utterly terrifying. When a child faces chronic abuse, neglect, or emotional terror, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Fight or flight kicks in, but here's the thing. A child can't fight. They can't run. They're small, powerless, trapped, so the brain does the only thing it can, it freezes. And then it dissociates. The child's mind essentially says, if I can't escape this physically, I'll escape it mentally. Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside the brain when a child dissociates. When trauma occurs, the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, screams danger. It floods the body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Normally, this is helpful. It prepares you to fight or flee. But when a child is stuck in an inescapable situation, those chemicals have nowhere to go. The nervous system overloads. Here's where it gets fascinating and heartbreaking. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and decision-making, basically shuts down. Meanwhile, the hippocampus, which processes memories, gets disrupted. This is why trauma memories often feel fragmented, hazy, or unreal. Dissociation is the brain's emergency protocol. It numbs the child emotionally. It disconnects them from their body. It creates a sense of detachment so the trauma feels less real, less immediate, less unbearable. In the moment, it works. It keeps the child psychologically intact. But here's the cost. When dissociation becomes a habit, when it's used over and over again, the brain starts to wire itself around it. It becomes the default response not just to trauma, but to stress, to conflict, to anything overwhelming. And that's where survival becomes suffering. Let's fast forward. That child grows up. The abuse may have ended, the danger may be gone. But the dissociation? It doesn't just disappear. Adults who dissociated as children often describe feeling like they're living in a fog. They struggle to feel emotions fully. They have gaps in their memory. They feel disconnected from their own body, like they're piloting a robot. Some describe it as feeling unreal or like they're watching their life from behind glass. This is called depersonalization and derealization, two forms of chronic dissociation. And they're more common than you think. Here rests the tragedy. The very thing that saved them as a child now isolates them as an adult. Relationships feel distant. Joy feels muted. Pain feels dull. They're safe now, but they can't feel it. Because their brain is still stuck in survival mode, still using that emergency exit even when there's no emergency. Some develop dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, where the mind fractures into distinct identities, each holding different memories, emotions, or roles. It's the brain's way of compartmentalizing unbearable experiences. Again, it's not weakness. It's the mind's most extreme form of self-protection. Let's pause and try to understand what this actually feels like for the child in the moment. Imagine you're 5 years old. Someone you're supposed to trust is hurting you. You scream, but no one comes. You try to run, but you can't. Your little body is frozen in terror. And then something shifts. Suddenly you're not in your body anymore. You're on the ceiling, looking down. You see yourself, but it doesn't feel like you. The pain is still there, but it's distant now, muffled, like it's happening to someone else. This is dissociation. And in that moment, it feels like magic. It feels like relief. But the cost is this. You learn that the only way to survive is to leave yourself behind. You learn that your body isn't safe, that your emotions aren't safe, that being present is too dangerous. So you stop being present, you stop being whole. And the saddest part? Most of these children never tell anyone. They don't have the words. They don't know what's happening. They just know that sometimes they disappear. So here's the question everyone wants answered. Can this be healed? The short answer is yes, but it's not easy. Because healing dissociation means doing the very thing the brain has spent years avoiding. Feeling, remembering, reconnecting. Therapy, specifically trauma-focused therapy like EMDR, somatic experiencing, or internal family systems can help. These approaches work to gently bring the person back into their body, to process the trauma that was too overwhelming to process as a child, and to rewire the brain's response to stress. Healing also means learning something the child never got to learn, that they are safe now, that they can feel without being destroyed, that they can be present without being in danger. It's slow, it's painful, but it's possible. And here's what I want you to understand. If you dissociated as a child, or if you know someone who did, this is not a life sentence. The brain that learned to dissociate can also learn to reconnect. It takes time. It takes support. But survivors do heal, and they do come back. Dissociation is one of the most misunderstood survival mechanisms in psychology. It's not weakness. It's not madness. It's the brain's last-ditch effort to protect a child who had no other options. But survival is not the same as living. And the goal of healing is not just to survive, it's to reclaim the life that trauma tried to steal. If this resonated with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Let's end the stigma around dissociation and trauma. Let's start talking about it with the compassion and understanding it deserves. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and remember you're not broken. You're a survivor. And that's one of the most powerful things you can be.